wanted to highlight something. We as a Muslim, we shouldn't forget about Quran and Sunnah. Wherever our training, wherever we study, wherever we... Our respective guest speaker, he was diverted and he was telling us something not correct, so to say. Islam is clear. Why we ignore Quran? Why we ignore Sunnah? If you are not well educated in Islam, don't say it. يعني well in Islam, I cannot give any lecture in Islam because if I don't study Islam well, I cannot talk anything about Islam. Islam for the people who study Quran and Sunnah. This is number thing. Number two is the economy started from the Prophet Muhammad, peace on him, since once he started, and his wife was businesswoman. So the Islam was, the economy was written in Islam, which is our respect from Bangladesh. Talk about waqf, talk about zakah, talk about riba, all in Islam. Why we listen to the scholars? They are not well educated in Islam. This is what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Some comments about last lecture. First of all, the topic is a little bit questionable. That I should add that Islam is one. There is no separation in Islam. As Islam is the from Adam alayhi salam, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As we know about Ibrahim alayhi salam, وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, he was not like from Muslims. So from Adam to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all were Muslims. So a little bit I have criticized about the topic that how there is two Islam. Islam is one and there is no separation, and the bitterest and the bitter is the one who have piety. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. And about our brothers, for example, who's proved that they are Salafi-based, they are, for example, Hanafi-based. No, they are Islam-based. And second thing, that the open market. We don't consider the views of the scholars, but we should consider the views of the Islams, what the Islam say. For example, if the view of a scholar is weak, we should not act on this. For example, I will give you an example of riba. For example, fulus in riba is, tafadul is allowed in riba and fulus. So if we consider current currency as a so nothing of interest. That's why we will not consider weak views of our scholars, even in economics, also in salah, and everything. Just we should consider first the Quran, then Sunnah, and then we should respect and we should consider the scholars' views, the majority scholars' views. And
can you give the talk to another person, because thank you very much. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Question is from Brother Tawid. He speaks about Waqf. In one of the slides, I saw the name Tabrizi, something like this, that maybe is the name of the building or the name of a person, I don't know. But you just spoke about the relationship between Bangladesh and India, not with other countries. I think maybe Tabriz, because Tabriz is in Iran, it's the city of Iran, you have Tabrizian, very much. So maybe it's better you find connections between Bangladesh and Persia, maybe the pre-Islam also. And the other question is that, as you said, does it lack make a responsibility or not? Islam make a social responsibility for people or not? Thank you very much.
Have several questions and answer globally. It's better. Thank you.
Let me be clear about the last speech, that he was saying about our subcontinent to Sufism, that it inclusive for the Ahmadiyya and etc. Ahmadiyya, especially hot issue these days in our area, Pakistan. And I clear that in 70s, a big and huge historic movement was led by Sufis as well as Salafis. Whole Ummah became unit against the fitna of Ahmadiyya, and the Parliament of Pakistan. The Parliament of Pakistan declared them disbelievers, not part of Islam. So, I want to just make clear that even Sufis of subcontinent did not accept Ahmadiyya. Said that they make close to the other religions, the intention to make them close them, that we will give them our scent of Islam so that they will accept our religion. So this is the thing. It doesn't mean that we will accept their religion and their opinions out. So this is what I want to make clear.
Thank you. The lady here, please. This lady. Yeah, we wanted to. Yeah.
I just wanted to make an observation. Some people think that Islamic tradition does not have something like a methodology of psychology. I think it's not correct. Islamic tradition, Islam, as a religion, has methodology for social sciences. The issue is that everything is studied for the purposes of Islam, or even beyond Islam, comes into two portions. One is beliefs, which is ilm al-kalam. The other, whatever that is, every possible thing that deals with every possible human relationship comes under the ambit of Sharia. Now, the issue is that even if we study economics, sociology, or any other field, we have to, and we should, if we are Muslims, study under the bab or under the ambit of Sharia. If somebody would say that we are biologists, for us people are important in Sunni, then I think you should be a little careful about it, because some people would find it, and you mentioned it, but some people would find it very provocative. The other thing is that throughout different centuries, Muslims, whether they were Sufis or not, successfully had business organizations and economies. Islam all actually has a tendency of accepting people and allowing people to do business. Islam is very much open about it, because how can it not be? Because it claims to be timeless, its applicability, and it claims to be universal for the purposes of having its own path, or like everybody in this universe can accept it if he wants to. So this was observations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
This isn't a question, but it's just a point of defense of my esteemed colleague Mustafa. I think we've got the wrong gist of his message. Now, I understand there might be certain language barriers, because, our first languages aren't English, but he was talking on a sociological perspective. He didn't say in a negative way to leave the Quran and Sunnah. That's not what he's saying. He's not saying leave the Quran and Sunnah. He is simply saying he has inspected it on a sociological level. He has done this experiment on a purely sociological level. He is accepting of the Quran and Sunnah. He is a Muslim. But he is just looking at it on the level of psychology. So it's unfair to say certain comments, and he's a very esteemed scholar, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Again.
Thank you very much, Brother Mustafa, for your presentation. But which needs clarification about your research methodology, means how you collected opinion from Sufi school of thought and from Salafi school of thought, how many people you have conducted interviews, and what was the percentage of responses. If these could be made clear, then there will be no confusion.
So now we can give the one.
I think these are, one shouldn't be get very emotional about these categories. Islam is a universal Islam, but still we have academic ideal types, and so when you say who is Salafi, there was you could see they raised their hand. So it means there is such thing as Salafi, as Shia, as Sunni, as Deobandi, as Bareli, and then a scholar like Mustafa, when he is addressing these things, these are actually sociological categories. These are not something like he is using some believer's approach to that. So for academic purposes, normally we create the Weberian ideal types, and then we analyze them, we critically analyze them, and if those categories do not work, then we drop them down. So I think we should little be tolerant about that.
It's time now to answer the question. So I begin with Professor Tawhidul Islam from Bangladesh. You have the.
Thank you very much for your question. I have mentioned a name, Jalaluddin Tabrizi. Tabriz is a famous city of Iran, and Jalaluddin Tabrizi, a famous Sufi of India who traveled from Tabriz to Iran in 14th century. So centering Jalaluddin Tabrizi, a very big institution developed at Tabrizabad, which is still now known as Tabrizabad in West Bengal of India. And thousands of students were there. It is said that students, when they were standing for to take dinner, it becomes half night. So there were thousands of students in that institution, Tabrizabad, and some termed it as a university. Not only Jalaluddin Tabrizi, but also some other people also traveled from Persia even to Bengal. I mentioned the name Shahabuddin Abu Tawama. He founded Sonargaon, which is a very close to Dhaka, and that was also termed a university. So some big institutions developed in Indian territories, including Bengal, and mostly supported by work of the individual people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Islam, and Mustafa.
Thank you very much for everybody who have intervened. Thank you much for negative response. I think it's when I have negative or negative attitude, response, that means there is success, because the message was there, and the response was there. It's okay for me. Thanks for positive, strong positive support. But I have I have to know, I'm not from Islamic faculty. I'm not doing Sharia. My studies and my from Islamic studies. I'm from social sciences. And in social sciences we ask people. We ask people in which what you are, Muslim. But for example, we ask if you have any relation with any Sufi order, if you have prior Sufi power, if you what is your thinker and Sufi. We ask people, and after we make distinction. These people are Sufism. These people are related, and we look what difference between attitudes. This is our methodology. We are not talking about if we talk about Sufi Islam and Salafi Islam. It is sociological category. We create that. It's not in the Quran and Sunnah. It's sociology Islam. It is sociology Islam. That means we have free to maybe the political Islam. There is economic Islam. It is in social sciences when you talk with other countries, with other scholars, we have to use that. It's category available and you use it. There is the main point for controversy is to use in methodology for Islamic studies. Maybe I'm outside Islamic studies, but I think it's like suggesting that is maybe there is if we look at the economy in Islam, maybe we have to look at society, the real economy Islam, and I'm not sure if because there is some bizarre results. There is some results in contradiction. I don't want to talk about more, but if we make research of early Islam, for example, about Islamic taxes. From early sources, before the Abbasid period, the Muslim was not imposing new taxes. There was no jizya on Christian. You know that? In the early Islam, no jizya. You know that there is the same law for Christian and Muslim and Jewish. There was mu'minun. You know why we say Amir Mu'minin, not to Amir Muslim? Because the first Muslim community was plural. And I will give something strong. Even for heritage, Muslim was inheritance between Christian and Muslim. Also, and the mosque, Damascus, until 70, the Muslim and Christian go out to the same mosque. Friday for Muslim and Sunday for Christian. Huh? Things very, very, very different. And more, I will tell more. You know, this is the conquered Arab in North Africa, 50, they are in Algeria. You know, in the Muslim army, they are Christian and Jewish as mujahideen. You know that? This is what I'm saying. You have to look at other sources. You have to come back to the early Islam. The message is different. Okay? This is what. For my methodology, yes. I am classical methodology. We have simple. I have take 33% from Sufi order, 33% from Salafi association, and others with no affiliation to compare. And we have used SPSS, regulation, but it's too much for regulation, everything. Okay? I think that's, I'm clear. I don't like to say I'm Muslim. Okay? It's bad for me to say that. We are Muslim. This is not matter of, I'm here as sociologist. Even I'm not Muslim, I'm here, I'm talking as sociologist that never relate with Islam. Everybody, even no Muslim, if he chose the same methodology, he will have the same results. Our method sociology is universal. There is no Islamic sociology. Then my last point, I am not from Islamic studies. I am from social sciences. If you want to include social sciences in Islamic studies, I'm here to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mustafa. So I know you are very tired, so I may not know too. Just sum up the three presentations. The first presentation of Jani Kinilen, called Islamic Countries Clustered and Analyzed by economic and political freedom and GDP. He tried to see the impact of economic freedom on development, and especially on GDP growth rate per capita from 2010 to 2015. I think it's a short period. Maybe the results are weakened by the fact that there are only 5 years observations. On 37 Islamic countries, but among them only 21 with data available. 154 countries of the global world. And the first results was a positive relation between with legal system and property law, who are 40% of the, and also with regulation. The other correlations were not clear. Government consumption, government enterprises, not fully clear sound money. And after he presented the MCA analysis, only on freedom category level, he found results in line with the biplot correlation of individual variables. And he had the PC1 who represented legal system and especially property rights. That explains 40% of the total variance of all freedom variables. So I think that are the principal results, and I want to add that this kind of study are very important to do because it's now the economic language is econometrics. So we must use this language in order to convince our public to if we have hypotheses or we through some we are convinced of relationship, but we must give evidence on it and robust studies. And after it's the paper on Bangladesh. It's about the Waqf in Bangladesh, and especially the Waqf governance, because Waqf is an institution. It's a very important institution in Islam, and it is an institution with a governance. It's property, the kind of property right, which is not private individual right, it's property right with governance. And we talk about this tomorrow, but now you have in the modern economic thought a very strong current, a new current on what is called commons. And the commons, it's a reflection critical against the individual property right, and who refer to a middle-aged institution who is named the Commons. And there is a pre-Nobel of Nobel Prize of Economics on 2 women on this topic, and I think the Commons is very close to the work. So it's a way to work on it, because works can become something different in the modern field of economics. And it was interesting because the points I emphasized on his communication is that during the Umayyad and the Abbasi period, the Waqf, the Awqaf, were not under the state treasury. They were independent, and it was there is a Syrian Syrian economist, I think he's Syrian, Duri, his name is Duri, Muhammad Duri, I think. He said that the Waqf have been developed in a time where the state was not strong. It was to give to the people a minimum income. It's like a minimum income. It was the first, and it was independent from the state. It's a way to have a welfare state without. It's a good way to have social. But after that, it became to be under control of government. Especially in the Ottoman Empire. But he was talking about the history of Bangladesh, and he showed that how the colonial authorities did with the Awqaf. They developed the bureaucratic many rules, and they had a colonial policy. Why? Because the Waqf is property, and an important part of the Waqf are lands, and the colonizer, he wants to have the land. So Waqf have been they focused on the Awqaf, and he showed after that after the independence, the new state developed a very big bureaucratic governance on the Waqf, and it is not efficient. So he gave recommendations to make it more efficient. And the third presentation of Mustafa Raji, I think it's Sufi Islam versus Salafi Islam. He was talking about two contemporary forms of organization of the civil society in Islamic countries, of how the Muslims organize themselves today, because there are many, in the past, there are many different to organize. There are also the different schools of law in Islam. There are a lot of, but I think he didn't say that there are many Islam. He was just talking about the way the Muslims organize themselves in contemporary societies, and he was studying this as a social scientist with the instrument of social science, and his result. But these results are, I have another, I can send it to you if you want, because I know a Pakistani researcher who works in Oxford in Britain, and he make a study on the impact of shrines in Punjab. He worked on Punjab. I think it's a region where there are a lot of shrines. The impact of the shrines on development, and it is an econometric study. It took as a proxy of development. It took the variable the literacy rate, and his result is opposite to yours, because he showed that shrines are not good for literacy, because literacy it's education, it's the secular system of education. So he explained that the shrines don't want to let this system expand. So it's another way to study this question. And thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Session Chair and the honorable speakers, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for today. And inshallah, we will continue by tomorrow. And we have arranged also tea, so that you may go back home with open eyes. And the ladies